Playtime is over. Get your Prepared Mind merchandise to show your support for the channel, stop censorship, and to tell YouTube they can smoke it. Get prepared now. Hello everyone, John here, your host on the Prepared Mind channel. Welcome back. Interesting news today. The big news that I want to talk about is the threat that you and I face. Once again, a hot toddy for medicinal purposes. This weekend could be very exciting. This weekend could be very horrifying. You know, this week was the State of the Union week. President Trump got out there and really talked up the country. I think we all expected that. And in a way, I was a bit surprised at how calm he was, how he kept it as real as possible. I know he was basically being a cheerleader, but, you know, that came, his State of the Union came on the heels of Congress voting to release the FISA memo. That is, it's the memo that's talking about who, what, where, when, why, and hopefully how all this corruption's taking place. And I know it won't be an exhaustive document, but apparently it's damning enough that the party line vote happened, right? All Democrats on one side, Republicans on the other. You know, it's you would think that justice and transparency and integrity wouldn't fall on party lines. You would think that there'd be a little more to it, that people in D.C. would have some more substance. You would think that if there was a legitimate reason to oppose releasing this memo to the general public, that there would be Democrats that would cross over and that there would be Republicans that would be against it, if there were legitimate reasons. But it appears it's a partisan battle. So that makes it a constitutional crisis as far as I'm concerned, right? It has all the trappings of it. And I don't mean by constitutional crisis shit hitting the fan, but rather the American people are going to doubt their nation once again, whether or not the people that are running it are honest, the people that are in Washington are worth supporting. So Congress voted and Trump said, yeah, I'm going to sign it and release it. Well, he did his State of the Union. He didn't talk about it there. But the next morning, right, we had a garbage truck run into a train, a commuter train full of Republicans, no less. A lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, believe that was intentionally done, that it was no accident. And it wasn't just a warning that, you know, people were expected to die on that. So it was a stern warning at the very least. And I don't think that coincidences occur, especially not like this. Back when that Republican was shot at the baseball softball field, after saying he was going to expose human trafficking and child traffickers, basically these sexual predators and pedophiles that are in the government, that are in big corporations. Right? That was no accident. It was no coincidence. And still, the effort continues forward and more forward to expose this cabal of evil. So what have we got coming up this weekend? You know, we have the Super Bowl on Sunday. Right? It's the Patriots. What an interesting team. You know, forget about their record and who they are, but think about the symbolism of them. The symbolism of the New England Patriots. How about the symbolism of the City of Brotherly Love Eagles? The eagle is a symbol of our nation. And the City of Brotherly Love is Philadelphia. So we've got all of these symbolic things coming together in a Super Bowl on Sunday. And we've seen with what by all outward appearances is an attack, a threat, all rolled into one with this commuter train accident. You know, this weekend we're going to have one more event. And it looks like, sounds like, according to reports, that Trump is signing the congressional release of the FISA documents. And it'll be released to us tomorrow, Friday, February 2nd. What is unnerving about this is there is a lot of chatter across the board. And probably a lot of it's coming from conspiracy theory type people and preppers and paranoid people like me and you and everyone else. But there's a definite fear, belief, right, that there's going to be a false flag this weekend. That the train accident itself was the start of the scorched earth retribution. The more Trump pushes, the more serious they're going to get. Right? People are being arrested. These pedophiles. People on Wall Street who are participating in price fixing and market manipulation are being arrested. And now we have this FISA memo, which is going to expose those in the FBI who are committing crimes. This is a brilliant move by Trump to show exactly who, and hopefully we get the names. They don't black them out, but the names of department officials that are committing crimes, obstruction of justice, hiding, ignoring evidence, right? Colluding, using coercion, whatever tactics they're using to commit their offenses, which may border on treason for all we know. There's going to be trouble. And I think I said that we've passed the point of no return. We've crossed that line. You can't threaten Hillary Clinton. You can't threaten the cabal and the Illuminati, the powers that be. You can't just idly throw a threat out there. Because the second, the absolute moment they have power back, the punishment will begin. The retribution, the vengeance they have against us, the little people, will start. You know, they know it, we know it. When Trump won the election, it was game on right then. That was over a year ago now. And what has been going on? In the background, investigations, compiling evidence, naming names, witnesses being spoken to. It's all going to come to pass. But what had to happen first? Had to get the first leg, right, of the Justice Department, the Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It needed to be cleaned up, and it's taken this long to get there. You know, when you're the Illuminati and your billionaire and trillionaire corporations and families that have been in charge of the system for decades and centuries, they're not lightly dug in. They're not peripherally existent. They have got their fingers in everything and they control everything. They don't control the FBI a little bit, they control it a lot. They don't control the CIA a little bit, they control it a lot. And that goes for every major federal bureaucracy, including the State Department as far as I'm concerned, and the Attorney General's office and everywhere. It's been a complete and total fight to get these cockroaches exposed. And with the light on them, they run, right? That's what's going on right now. There's a lot of running and hiding, finger pointing and blaming, and people are going to roll over on each other. This is going to be a hairy mess. And this weekend is prime. It is prime as a candidate weekend for the Illuminati to show us, the little people, that we aren't free and that there's a price to pay for actions taken against them. There's a price to pay for Hillary's failure. There's a price to pay for the exposure of Pizzagate. There's a price to pay for everything that they've done and the exposure. Obama having a second White House, an office, headquarters for his community, what do we want to call it? His community organizing, right? Keeping it in Washington. There's been a second government, a second administration, a second bureaucracy set up behind the de facto or true, right, power. But it was right behind all along, with everyone in power in those bureaucracies, meddling with, obstructing, obscuring, hiding evidence, destroying evidence. And that's all going to come out in the next few weeks, starting with this memo's release tomorrow. Cliff High has covered this quite a bit, which is fascinating that he was able to detect this through internet chatter. And it's coming to pass. Very interesting stuff as far as predictability. But it's looking like it's going to happen. Like the American people and the world at large are going to be shocked at what comes out. Now, I'm going to use a medical analogy to describe what I see as what's going to happen. When someone gets cancer, that means the body thinks it's in charge, but really the cancer grows, and it's parasitic, and it destroys. It causes death. And in order to kill it, to remove the cancer, there is a great amount of pain and suffering. The treatment itself, or the cure, will either destroy the cancer or kill the body altogether. So you and I, as preppers, need to understand that right now, our nation has a severe cancer at the highest levels. And that cancer needs to be removed, right? And chemotherapy needs to be administered. In other words, we need to radiate all these departments, all of these bureaucracies. Trump has to do that. He has to radiate it, that is, kill off the bad guys. Literally, kill them off. Get them out. Fire them, in other words. And I'm not calling for violence or murder, but these people need to be caught. And the best assurance that we can have as free human beings in this nation and around the world is to see the perpetrators prosecuted and either given the death penalty if their crimes are severe enough, or thrown in jail the rest of their lives as a deterrent to these would-be powers that think that they own us. And this country needs to be righted once again. The cancer needs to be killed. But between now and then, right, between this moment today when you're watching this and the time when we can say they are gone, thank God Almighty, between now and then, removing this cancer is going to be painful. It's going to be painstaking. It's going to take a long time. And in the process, a lot of damage is going to be done to the living, true body. That is the people of the United States and our de jure government, right? Our real government. Hopefully we can get these things, these parasites, these vampires out. Vampires of all sorts, get them out of here. They are living off of us and terrorizing us. And that's what I think can start this weekend, is the cancerous units. And we've talked about this. I know I have at length. That there's going to be scorched earth. For every one of them that gets taken down, they're going to scream and yell, and they're going to call for false flags. Not out loud, but behind closed doors. In these secret societies, which aren't really societies, they're secret cabals. They are special interest groups and fascists who want to keep their power, who don't want to lose their power and certainly don't want to go to jail for it. They may flee the country. They may go to their clandestine hideouts and hope that Hillary and her ilk are successful in stopping Donald Trump and his administration's effort to get this exposed. Now, once again, Trump is not our savior, but Trump is acting like a leader. If the cabal, if the Illuminati wanted, truly wanted to just take over the world, they could do it. They wouldn't need to have this big charade, this exposure of themselves, and a supposed fight for control of what they already own if they were in charge. So Trump must be deductive reasoning, the real deal. Because there's no other reason to play this game to this level. With 9/11, for example, that was a false flag perpetrated by dark elements within our government and with the assistance, cooperation of other dark elements in other governments. And there was no apparent threat from us, the little people, against them. They had already destroyed the militia and patriot movement with the Oklahoma City bombing. Right? Americans were passive again and apologetic for daring to question the federal government. So why 9/11? Well, because they needed to play their game, you see. So there's no need, if they just wanted to keep playing their game and false flagging the living shit out of everybody in order to get their world domination, their new world order, their global elite technocracy. There's no reason to play that game with Donald Trump and have him step out and give us hope, right, while exposing them, because the risk is real. These people, they know each other. They know who the bad guys are within Washington. They know who the bad guys are around the world. They know the filthy, dirty crimes that they all commit. Hillary herself has been exposed as having a 16-year plan, of which apparently Obama was 8 of the years, and she was supposed to be the second 8, that they were going to continue to destroy, to denigrate the United States of America and transform it absolutely and finally into some sort of socialist, fascist utopia that they ruled. That was their plan, and we stopped them. Somehow, by God, we stopped them. Somebody, somehow, Hillary didn't get elected. And that is probably the greatest miracle, the greatest gift we've been given in a long time. Were it not for Trump winning, Hillary would be in charge, and none of these discussions, none of the discussions that we have would be taking place. We would be living or continuing to live in a state of quiet martial law. That's what we were in. Today, we know that tomorrow that document's coming out. And history has demonstrated time and time again, especially with the Clintons, that false flags, murder, accidents happen when they're exposed and they're in trouble. A milk factory was blown up in Iraq. Right? An aspirin factory was blown up in Iraq to try and cover up Bill's blowjobs. Completely amazing. And everyone's like, yeah, that's how it works. You know, now we have a chance. That's not how it works. That's wrong. That's criminal. Right? Those are human rights violations. There's a lot of stuff that went on and it never got prosecuted. Trump is now in a position with our support, so we need to support him, that he's doing the right thing because we have no choice. We can continue to be victimized by these corrupt individuals, this scum absolute, or we can fight and support those who fight against them in Washington. But what can we do individually, you and I? We can only prepare. Because if Hillary and their ilk get their way, right now Hillary is probably on her knees praying to whatever devil she prays to, asking for a false flag to occur, something to distract the world, to punish people. You know that's what she wants. You know it. How can you deny it? No one can deny that. They know that she's hoping for something to save her leathery old ass. And I don't mean to be crude, but that's just the way it is. She is a horrifyingly terrible human being. Nobody's perfect, but she ain't even trying. Right? They're hoping for it. They're planning for it. If they have the ability to punish us and stop Trump from doing what he says he's going to do, draining the swamp, they'll do it. And I've got to tell you, Trump has been masterful with his strategy. He's kept everybody, even people on our side, distracted, confused, looking in the wrong direction, counterplaying everybody, while he is carefully and methodically pressed his agenda. He even denied that draining the swamp was a major issue. But it turns out that seems to be one of the things he's actually doing. So how could it not be a major issue? And exposing these scumbags and having something done about it doesn't happen by accident, as evidenced by Comey and McCabe et al., who have obstructed justice the whole way, lied, perjured themselves, etc., destroyed evidence. So how can we not expect, having the history of the Clintons, Waco, Ruby Ridge, and the fact that false flags occur, Oklahoma City bombing, 9/11, in order to advance their agenda, world domination, right? That's what's going on. So we as preppers can't just be ready with food and water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. We need to be ready up here. We need to understand that the potential for this is extremely high, right? It's red alert high from here on out. And there is a main target this weekend, the Super Bowl. And they have for years since 9/11 talked about the Super Bowl being a potential attack site. And if you believe that there aren't real American-hating terrorists in this nation that weren't sent in, brought in, smuggled in, intentionally by the Obama administration, then you've been smoking crack if you don't believe that. The government, the federal government, through whatever dark channels, has been creating and supporting terror cells around the world. They call them ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And they fight proxy wars for the dark state, the deep state. And they come here. They've opened the borders. They've let them in. Visas for everybody. And if you think they're not here, then you have just not been paying attention. So the potential for a real group of radicalized terrorists to attack is very real. All they have to do is be supplied with the materials, if they don't already have them, right? And the mission, which they are more than willing to carry out. Be prepared. Please, have all of your preps ready. But have your plan, understand the potential, and see with clear eyes that this has happened before, and so we can expect it to happen again. Additionally, the stock market is rumbling, and that house of cards that they built, that they call our economy, is on shaky, shaky ground. Right? Shaky cards. That house can come down. It's just going to take one of the legs being kicked out from under it. This week has been very precarious when it comes to how the stock market is working. The bond bubble is being pushed and the dollar is falling. So understand that. Understand the threats and understand that your plan that you have is what you can rely on. Right? That's your foundation for action. Be prepared. Chance favors, right? The prepared mind is yours. I'll talk to you guys this weekend with the weekly wrap-up. We'll see what happens today, Friday. Hopefully nothing bad. But this weekend is going to be Threat City. So you guys be cool. Stay frosty, right? Watch your six. Semper Fi. Godspeed to you all. I'll talk to you again soon.